Territorial is a pretty hard game. It takes a lot of strategy and knowledge about the game's mechanics to be able to win even just one match. That's why in this video, after spending hours of looking at replays from noobs, I'll be sharing with you all my top 5 best tips and tricks that I would give someone starting on 2024. The last tip is absolutely crucial if you want to get better at the game, so stick around till the end to find out what it is. Let's start with the most surface level things. The first tip I would like to share is to use your scroller, aka don't full send. The way that the scroller works is that you can select how much troops from your total balance you want to send out when attacking or donating someone. To use it, you drag your mouse to the percentage you want, that is represented horizontally, and it will show how much percent you're using. Now, most noobs either ignore its existence or don't know of it at all, instead always attacking with all of their troops rather than a smaller percentage, which we call full sending. You can imagine how this gives you a disadvantage though. People can take advantage of the fact that you're not defending your territory well and attack you quite easily while your troops are elsewhere. If this is you, I'd recommend using only 20 to 40% on attacks on players depending on how big they are and how badly you need to attack this person. You'd rarely find anyone sending 50% or more, as that would leave them with not a lot of troops to defend themselves with. When attacking bots, you should use less than 10% in your attacks because usually they are much weaker than any other player counterpart. It really just depends on how fast you want to attack and how much you're willing to give up on defense. The second tip that I'd like to share is to know where to spawn. Usually where you spawn on a map can determine a lot about how your game goes. The go-to strategy is to spawn on areas that would give you a lot of starting land to claim. This means that spawning too close to other players and bots could leave you at a disadvantage from the beginning, which we definitely don't want if we want to win. It also highly discourages spawning on any islands, as that would leave you largely disconnected from the rest of the world in the early game and restrict your land expansion. Furthermore, you can follow these maps here that will be in the description, which illustrate where to spawn in various maps indicated as green and blue, and where not to spawn indicated by orange and red. The maps were made by taking into consideration both how much expandability there is and how frequently do people spawn in those areas. Again, these will be in the description if you want to view them in more detail. The more land that you claim in the early game, the more troops you get every cycle. The more troops you get, the more you can attack and gain new land. So basically, the amount of land you have most of the time directly correlates with how much troops you get, and how likely it is for you to win. That's why I'd consider your starting position so important. Moving on to the next tip is to be patient. Now, I know that this might be a bit of a bore for newer players, but I think it's extremely important sometimes. I'm not saying that you should attack less or attack more, but I just want to illustrate my point. A lot of times when I see newer players play, they always rush into things. A good example of this is in the bot attack phase when you've just done your opening. Most noobs start attacking the bots immediately, without much thought into it. And I don't necessarily blame you, it's pretty intuitive. The faster you get land, the bigger the advantage you have against other players, right? Well, while that technically may be true, it could lead to other things like overexpansion when you waste too much troops in the beginning and you appear weaker than your opponents. You're usually better off if you attack more strategically instead, attacking bots of whose land might be of greater use to you in the future. Attacking too much could also lead you to bordering too many people in the start, which means you have a higher chance of being attacked. It's important to remember that your goal in the early and mid game is not to have more land, but to have more troops. Having more land is just a tool for having more troops. It's not the only one though. Saving up and being patient for the right opportunities to come could oftentimes lead you to winning the game faster. Hey! If you're still here and finding this video useful, now's the time for me to ask you to subscribe and like the video, as I spent a while on it. This is my first video, so how this performs will determine if I continue making these or not. Really, anything would be appreciated. I also want to take a moment to tell you why you should join my clan, Arch. Arch is a shorturl.at clan that I'm a part of right now. We hold daily grinds and we're very active in our Discord, but most importantly in the context of this video, we take great pride in our state-of-the-art training program. Joining our training program is totally free and encouraged, as I think it could help you understand more abstract ideas than anything mentioned here. The link to Arch's Discord server will be in the description below, but now let's go on to the next tip. Tip number 4 is when we're actually getting into the important stuff. The fourth tip is to learn an opening. This is one of the biggest contributing factors to dividing professional players and randoms, because when you first join Territorial, there's no way of you learning any openings without searching it up. An opening is basically an attacking strategy for when you first join a match. It's mostly reserved for how many troops you attack while you're still claiming land. There are a lot of options when it comes to openings, with the most notable ones being the Green Biscuit opening and the VKIJ opening. That's kind of the reason why I'll leave you to decide which one you want to use. I'll leave a few links in the description for a few of the most notable ones though. Most of these openings were especially designed by other people to give the most efficient way of starting your match, taking both the land area of each cycle and number of troops into consideration. This might be one of the harder parts of Territorial because having to memorize percent combinations and key patterns is not that intuitive to say the least. It can prove a challenge to even the best players, but boy is it effective. You could easily go from having 10,000 troops at 30 seconds without a particular opening to double that amount, 20,000 with one, which is, for me, a very big difference. The final tip is one that if you were to discard all your previous knowledge from my video and followed only this one instead, you'd be able to combat everything that is thrown at you. And what I'm talking about is joining a clan. On first thought, it probably doesn't strike you as much of a big deal, but I can reassure you it's the only way I became good at Territorial. Because one thing that is priceless to your Territorial journey is, as cringy as I'd like to admit, teamwork. While you're in a clan, you're given the opportunity to learn from other people that can help you understand more abstract topics than what I've discussed in this video. With joining a clan comes with the ability to play with other people side by side. When I first joined Territorial, it wasn't until I joined my first clan that I truly began understanding the game. Because having other people guide you and help you practice your skills, especially when it comes to openings and late game strategies, can be priceless, of which the latter is too abstract to fit into video. Joining a clan is simple. All you have to do is put your clan's tag or name into your in-game name with square brackets. But just doing that isn't enough. Most clans have Discord servers that you can join where you can effectively interact with other clan members. I've put a link to the main community server for Territorial in the description. Once in that, you can head on over to the Clans and Service channel, in which the creator of the game has kindly provided us with links to multiple clans that you can join. And it doesn't really matter which one you join as long as you have fun and get along with the people in it. I'm currently playing for the Arc clan, of which is Discord I'll put in the description. Anyone is welcome in Arch, and as I said, we have a lot of tutorials and a special training program that was recently released. But no pressure, really just join whatever clan you want. Make sure to subscribe and like the video if you found it useful. It would mean a lot to me, and the performance of it will determine the future of this channel. That is all for today though. I'll hopefully see you guys next time. In the meantime, you could watch this video over here that YouTube has recommended to you, but since this is my first video, and I really don't have anything else to show for.